maybe go that whole distance in EPO5. Of course, we'd love to see that happen, but you know we've got to be realistic a little bit as well in this sort of analysis part. And I don't particularly know if I'm gonna be favouring Viperio to win this matchup. I know everyone at home will be saying that they do want Viperio to win, and I think 100% those polls on ESL UK on Twitter online certainly would be saying that. But ladies and gentlemen, a best of 5, our grand finals here in the ESL Premiership. Let's jump into it. Nuke number 1. It's Viperio's pick. It's Endpoint on the CT side. Let's get into the action.
Well, it is in fact the curse of the first place in groups. Both of these teams finished in second place. Second seed coming in towards playoffs, and here they are in the final. Question is, who will come out on top? It's Nuke to kickstart things. Viperio's pick, and they're looking for just a notch under their belt to alleviate some of this pressure.
I like this. Double mollies, one towards Hut, one towards backside, and nade to try and offset this push from Hut. No one's cleared the close angle though, and MHL's duelie's good for a double. Surreal and Mighty Max able to gut out the rest, and a misplaced Hut molly, it feels like, has quite quickly caused chaos in the round. Nerds, he'll find the last, and Endpoint with the first round on the board. Viperio probably would have been smooth sailing had that molly have landed on top Hut, flushing out those dualies, dropping into the jaws of the Glocks. Just not meant to be though. Endpoint, they pick up the pistol.
That's the thing with the standard double hot mollies coming through, is that there's a slight gap, which MHL has abused, right? And you have to really change the lineup if you want to cover that as well, which is a different part of Hut still exposed. So all in all, right, MHL just played that to perfection. He's waited, he's held, double dualies, double kills, and Endpoint will start things off really strong. Now for Viperio, on a T side of Nuke, second most CT sided map in the pool at the moment, you're looking for what? I always say the golden number of 6, but they need to kickstart things. And in my opinion, the force buy is more important than the pistol.
Well, Viperio could do integral damage here if they pick up the round, right? Not only that, take M4s out of the sails of Endpoint here. They've got 3 of those premium rifles brought into the second round, which, you know, some might say is a bit of a gamble. I mean, sometimes it does work out, though. Thomas could get tested quite quickly on ramp here because Viperio are diving down towards the lower. Psych Thomas. It's easy, though, with the A1S. He's lined up 3. Gizmy, the last man standing. Can he at least put some damage to the name of Viperio? He's going to miss every shot, and Endpoint take a second. A clinic of a performance from Thomas. Unfortunately, had to have some support from Nerds there at the end. We'll give Endpoint their follow-up round, and back to the pistols here for Viperio.
Great start. It really is a great start there from Endpoint. I mean, once again, Thomas, it's his first real attempt where we can get to see him in terms of being tested. And, well, he passes with flying colours, doesn't he? No pressure over on those shoulders and down towards the B site. It is locked off. For Viperio, back to square one now, going towards round number 3. Just going to be that low buy. Of course, with no bomb plant, they really just don't have a lot of money to work with. Going to cross towards outside. And a great start with a great nade. Nerd to make a double. MHL add to his tally.
Artist trying to bait in some information, and MP9 will greet him. Giraffe going to be taking a bit of damage from outside. There's a Zeus for the Artist. I mean,
I like it.
Because the longer he stays up here, the more Thomas probably doesn't check him. Okay, never mind. Literally look in the direction that I thought he would, and ultimately picks up the Zeus, uses it for himself. But that's all of the pleasantries out of the way. This is where the dirty work needs to happen here for Viperio. They're on rifles. It's 5 AKs. For Endpoint CEX, there's an AWP on MHL. So certainly could get a bit fruitful if they take towards outside here, the Viperio boys.
Yeah, I mean, this is the real test. You look towards Endpoint, and while in a technical sense, you can be like, okay, this is a bonus. I mean, it isn't in terms of the firepower they're bringing. Aside from that one MP9, it's a very, very robust buy picked up by the CT side. Miss Molotov, interesting. Will do a little bit of damage, but not too much of an issue. Full buy for Viperio, and they have to make this conclusive if they want to make their T side competitive.
So Molly towards top part, I think, just to try and give a bit of information over to Giraffe, who's playing in lobby. Wouldn't have picked up on much. In the meantime, outside smoke at least thrown so you can cross to red, but beyond that, it's vacant space that the AWP fortunately isn't holding. Of course, if the AWP isn't holding outside, you know it's going to be coming somewhere else. And up secret, MHL begins to wonder. Mighty Max does take a fair chunk of damage there. He's on the SMG, the MP9, so it's not going to be the, the do-all, end-all. The AWP, there you go, opening kill. They continue to pressure, and Gizmy going to buckle under it. The AWP just finds the frag. Surreal finds another. I mean, Artist at least barters his way back into the round for Viperio with a kill of his own, but it's him and Marco now in the clutch. A 2v5. Thomas going to be able to switch out, get a AK in his pockets. Artist going to make his way forward through hell and back down ramp. And MMS in the meantime kind of slipped the net a little bit here.
Yeah.
Out towards single door. Has this even been gathered by Endpoint? Do they even know that this is a possibility?
Well, when he opens it, the question is, what's the reaction coming through MMS? I think it just buying a little bit of time to hope that Artist can get into a bit of a strong position. Of course, bomb in hands for him. And it's still about trying to get your way on towards site. Spotted out, crossing down on towards the site with 15 seconds is easier said than done. And it'll fall to the hands of Thomas. Bomb drop, 10 seconds. And a dream. MMS falling too with 4 remaining alive. That's Endpoint up to 4. I mean, this has been a dominant start on Nuke thus far. Who needs Heavy God? These guys are farming right now on Viperio. I mean, they're yet to scratch the surface. And once again, now heading into round number 5, their economy is in tatters. It's down to a low buy where they can only really muster up pistols in a sort of a strength point here and a bit of utilities to support. It's a really, really uncomfortable position. And we can see why the pause is called. Biscu needs to talk through and kind of calm them down, get them level-headed, and you know, just get them to relax a little bit, because you can really see the pressures building up over towards Viperio already early doors.
Ultimately, Viperio haven't really done much in terms of damage. You know, you look at the first 4 rounds, only 1 kill for Viperio. It was Nert that took an exit in one of the rounds. It was the one just gone. And, I mean, for the rest of it, Endpoint CEX have put all of their money into the savings account rather than, you know, reinvesting into those rifles. And that's just going to build up, you know, an extra wall of defense here for the CT side. For Viperio, as you said, haven't really scratched the surface to damage those finances. Tech 9s, Deagles, P250s, whatever they want to buy here. Viperio on a half buy with pistols. Let's see what damage they can muster up here.
They'll come through. Surreal going to take a little bit of an aggressive stance. Chunk of an A going to come towards our side, but just not finding the depth. Doesn't matter. Nerd spraying through. We'll find one. MS quick on the trade.
At least it's a positive outcome, right? That there's at least some damage in this round, but it goes Endpoint's way majoritively. MMS, hold on a second. It's an M4 picked up. Not only that, Ping has found another kill, but the bomb coughed up towards the closed vent. Artist, I think he needs to create a bit of a distraction here to buy some time for Marco, who tries to manipulate the play towards outside. MHL would have spotted him, and as he drops into the jaws of Thomas, the AK finds its first in the round and is 7th in the server. Max will round this one out quite nicely to make it 5 for Endpoint here. Nuke is starting beautifully here for the CT side.
It's so comfortable, isn't it? It's so clean right now. I mean, as you mentioned, there's very little mistakes coming through, but it's more towards the other side where Viperio aren't really finding any comfort, any success coming in. It's, you know, even getting frags on the board seems like a far-fetched goal right now, right? So,
yes,
coming through, I think, for Endpoint, right now, they don't need to change anything. Everything's looking very, very decent for them. For Viperio, their playstyle and their tempo has to change. They're giving up too much control over towards Endpoint early doors and sort of allowing them to dictate the tempo of the game, and they're playing by their playstyle.
The second time that Viperio can threat the full buy of Endpoint here. The AWP 4 AK setup, so at least there is change to the investment. You know, we've got the sniper out towards outside. Smoke towards lobby, going to block off any ramp knowledge here from Ping, and I do believe there's Giraffe with him in that ramp control as well towards radio room. Just very slow passive play now for Viperio.
Yeah.
Trying to burn out the utility, which is something quite nice. I think Endpoint do like to you know, double molly. There's a couple of smokes involved sort of in the early round towards A as well. So I think just trying to put Endpoint on the drip feed in that sense as well, right? And kind of whittling them down to the bare minimum to hold a site gives Viperio that best chance. So playing things slow, clearly part of the game plan here.
And they're hoping for mistakes. Oh, that timing's great from Nert. A lot of damage down towards MMS as he's down to 6 points of HP. A slitherer. But he somehow sneaks through and just finds a gap. Now Gizmy trying to make some space in towards Garage. But they're all too aware. Retro, there's 30 seconds left.
Then again, damage good, time minimal. But Viperio have a massive wrap. 2 towards Secret though. And so half the push is fumbled. Giraffe from heaven gonna catch good timing on the high side player. Ping's found a second. Ping's found the third. Mighty Max will find one in the flames. But another kill for the AWP. Artist left in the clutch. 7 seconds. No time, no chance. And as he jumps into the jaws of MHL, sure, he might just be able to find the kill. But there's no time for both. And a hunt after time leaves him with absolutely nothing. 6-0 Endpoint. $600 for Artist. And a sick round for the CEX side.
It's messy, it's chaotic, but it's somehow confident still for Endpoint as they continue to just find success after success. 6-0, it's a flawless start, and while there was brilliance there from Ping coming through, getting a couple of kills under his belt, it just wasn't quite good enough. And I think for Endpoint, even they themselves know that maybe got a little bit too comfortable. It did get a little bit closer than it realistically should have been. It was 30 seconds, with Viperio having no clear pathway in towards a site, and already starting to struggle in terms of the utility they had in a more long-term sense. But we're at 6-0, Endpoint looking good. And Viperio once again back to that conversation that we were having just a few moments ago about the economy being pretty brutal, which coming in towards round number 7, the buy minimal. They're kind of stuck in this cycle we like to talk about where it's kind of full buy in, but failure to convert the round or find a bomb plant means that they head in towards the next, back on an eco, and it's sort of rinse and repeat. You can never build up confidence or morale or momentum if you're in this cycle.
Viperio want to change pace and go for something faster by the looks of things. MMS slips towards the ice cube. Nerds, as cool as ever with that A1S. MMS has actually been given a lot of space to push up close. Nice shot from Artist. P250 does provide a second. MMS. There you go. Kills across the board for both parties now. Another shot rattles out. It's MMS's M4 that causes some havoc to this Endpoint side, but not the first scenario that Endpoint haven't been in favour in the numbers game in the last round, in the dying embers. It was Endpoint that held their nerves. Surreal this time spotted, and the calculative approach is a multi-pronged attack towards A, and it's one that delivers in greatness for Viperio. It's Thomas in the 1v3 though. So far finding the first dinks up ping, and there we have it. It's an eco that gets Viperio on the board. It's 6-1.
And it's all off the back of that one thing we was talking about kind of, what, 3-4 rounds ago, what we said for Viperio, off the back of their first hack balls, Biscuit, it's a good opportunity for him to tell the lads to change the tempo a little bit, and he does exactly that. They go fast, they get a lot of that map control, they put pressure over towards Endpoint. That's the first time we've really seen the CT side feel even a little bit of pressure. Even in the chaos in the round prior, they still had control. This time, much better. Full bites come out off the back of it for Viperio. And AWP, of course, in the hands of the ENDmhLL AWP artist.
So at least the financial game starting to pay into the effect of Viperio here. Endpoint have had to reinvest in these last 2 rounds a lot of the lost weaponry, and that's where Viperio can start to put on the pressure and really put the foot on the gas. MHL 2 for 1. Any more he'll be asking. Blind fires while the flashbang is in effect, and he'll have to fall away from the angle, but he wants to give it another go. Giraffe will at least point in the right direction for this Viperio side and usher MHL out of the round. 11-3 the AWP currently stands though for Endpoint. Another clinical shot connects, this time I feel like with bigger implications, because spiraling off the back of it, Gizmy walks into Surreal's crosshair, and it's Giraffe in the 1 versus 3. At least he has the bomb now to work with the smoke and a flashbang. AWP at his feet if he wants to pick that one up and maybe go for the save. Ultimately though, saving isn't what Viperio stands for. They need rounds, and so Giraffe, he'll have a look for himself in this one.
And one thing you can see for Endpoint as well, they just have that slight better ability when it comes towards that trade game. Normally the T side very favourable, playing that body system, but for Viperio they're being caught off guard. They're having this inability to step up, and a couple of individuals, I don't like to highlight people when they're not playing well, but you know, for Gizmy, he's an impactful fragger. He's a rifler, he normally steps up to the plate, but with him not finding as much impact as he usually does, that's where you're seeing initially this Viperio side struggling. They can't get the frags on the board, which put Endpoint under pressure, and once again it's kind of back to our regular preceded showing of Endpoint just walking over them right now. A 6-round lead built up. It's comfortable, plain, smooth sailing by the reigning champs. They're looking for 8 in a row and 10 overall. And right now, at 7-1, you really can't complain.
No, you absolutely can't. If you're Endpoint, They're in a good spot for Viperio. You know, you've got to coast a little bit, right? On the T side of Nuke, it's quite difficult to kind of get your say in. A few rounds more maybe is enough for them. MMHL yet again on the AWP, finding the opener. It's MMS this time to walk into the crosshair. Great shot from Giraffe. A Tech 9 from that range. Just a dink body shot in a blink of an eye. Surreal just removed. Nertz, he's going to try and find his way forward to improve on this A hold. As MHL quite passive towards outside, but Artist, well, he's already found his way down. I'm wondering, how's he going to work out this round, though, for Viperio? Because the bomb's towards lower, the majority of their resources are on upper. So is this going to be sliding up the vents? Nope, Ping is going to jump down to join him, and maybe now Viperio look to try and get a bomb plant, and there's some pistols to support.
Gizmy lurking could be a little bit of a problem towards outside, but still for now, I mean, they've got control of the B site. Thomas in towards brackets. It's a tough one to clear, and he'll spot a leg, he'll spot an arm, Ping will fall, and he's looking for a double, trying to find it. Messy spray. Thankfully, Nertz there to bail out one. An Artist not long left for this world for him. Gizmy will step up for his first kill in the game so far, but he's instantly traded. Endpoint net themselves a lead at the half, at the very least. And the way they're playing, you'd expect plenty more. Viperio, that looked like one of their best opportunities to find a second round that we've seen thus far, but still not quite good enough. Yes, they'll have a buy-in towards the next, but Endpoint, they are so comfortable right now.
8-1. A staggering lead for the CT side, one that's going to take some serious shove for Viperio to displace. No luxury of an AWP here for Artist either. It's 5 rifles to improve upon the single round that they have to their name so far. Surreal taking a bit of tag damage early on to the molly, and Gizmy, there you go. We're starting to see the power, as you said, that we know he has in the locker, starting to sort of orchestrate a Viperio A push. Giraffe trying to apply the pressure on Mighty Max in back sight, but it's Ping to finish the job that his teammate once started. Artist with another. Giraffe finally falls. Thomas will get traded out by MMS. And that's more like it by Viperio. Power with numbers. They push into the A site and they kind of suffocate Mighty Max out of this A hold. Nertz was quick to follow. And that's it. It's going to have to be a safe call here. And, well, Viperio, the second round. Improvement. That's what we want to see.
Exactly, it's the same thing once again about putting the pressure on immediately on towards Endpoint, kind of, you know, forcing them to pump the brakes a little bit and actually kind of consider how they're playing, how the crossfires are set up, what their hold's like towards the side. And for Viperio, they don't give them that time to think. That's how they should be playing these rounds, where they're struggling and when they play things slow. I mean, I understand, you know, it's pretty standard. Slow things down, try and bait out utility, look for mistakes over towards the CT side, but Endpoint are so well drilled that these mistakes aren't really going to creep in for a team of this caliber, especially domestically speaking. So Viperio getting in their face, playing and thriving in the chaos, as we mentioned in the pre-game, about how good they are at doing so, especially on Vertigo, for example. Doing things like that is where we're going to see Viperio start to find some success. I mean, with how things are right now, while 7 rounds is a possibility, it's probably quite improbable that they'll find it. But if Viperio can climb their way up to something along the lines of, what, 5 rounds on T side, they'll absolutely take that.
I was thinking this, right? Because obviously the timeout here is probably called by Endpoint, and they want to talk financially through their next steps, because you're on single round loss bonus. So Mighty Max, Surreal, both in a position to force buy. For Nertz, he's got plenty of money, so he can buy in this round as well. So it makes sense. It makes sense that they're going to go for a deep investment. Viperio, they're against some lesser weaponry. If you put a 3rd on the board, it's a 4th in collateral damage. Maybe there is a chance that 7 can be made here if they use momentum in the right form. We'll see. Gizmy on the board. We're starting to see some pressure from Artist. Giraffe's looking pretty strong. MMS is having a solid game so far. Ping's had a wonderful few rounds when Viperio have been winning. This is it. This is Viperio in gear, as you said. We need to kind of see them go into overdrive, though, if we want to see them beat Endpoint in a BO5.
GizMy's snuck his way in towards main. That's perfect. Surreal found one off the back of the 5.7. That gun is as good as a rifle in my eyes. Very overpowered and delivers. Still numbers for level. Not much longer, though. Great shot from Giraffe.
Unbelievable. Accuracy with the AK paying off for a second. GizMy's going to be caught with his pants down as MHL slides up the vent. Through the molly runs Nertz. Surely he dies to the flames. Not without finding 2. And just simply being there forces Thomas to swing from behind. And Endpoint steal away a 9th. That round should have been Viperio's from beginning to end. Instead, it ends in heartbreak. A 9th on the boards. And just when we start to hype up this T-side, just when we start to, you know, welcome Viperio back to the server, Endpoint force them to slam on the brakes and rethink the entire half and the validity of it.
And of course, you know, it's one of those rounds where you look at the buy versus Endpoint, it's pretty rough in terms of they got pistols. It's kind of all over the place. And if they can convert that round, they just seal the deal in not only this half, but it already starts to kind of feel like this map, right? Which is the really concerning factor. We're getting to the point in time where we start asking the question, is it too little, too late for Viperio? I mean, we're already at a 7-round lead in the first half, and we've still got quite a few more to be had in towards this first. I mean, Endpoint can comfortably get themselves up to double digits, if not further, you know, and push towards the likes of maybe an 11 for 12, or even off the top of that. So for Viperio, they're in a really rough spot. Yes, a full buy comes in towards round number 12, but a similar scenario. If they don't get a bomb plant, or at least make it expensive, they'll struggle with a buy-in towards the next.
Interestingly enough, that MMS and Gizmy have both sort of like half bought into this round. You know, they've got $2,000 each for Ping, Artist, and Giraffe. They've sunk most of their cash into this round, so clearly this buy is thinking about the future as well for a couple of these players. For an A hold, I mean, they were trying to create the illusion that they were going to go for a rush. Instead, they double back and head towards ramp. All 5 players going to jump into the Jordan Thomas. MHL's here to support. An overwhelming majority to the left-hand side. The AWP is made redundant after finding the first kill. A second peek in. Artist misses the shot, and MHL will follow suit. Tags up Gizmy, finds the shot onto Ping. That's clinical from the Polish AWPer. Artist fires back, though. And considering this is, you know, a bit of a forced investment here for Viperio, at least they're making it expensive. Gizmy still yet to think about a bomb plant right now. Viperio's job is just to isolate a fight and try and bring the numbers further in their favour.
To be honest, the fact that MHL even walked away with a second kill there is testament to his individual ability. Gizmy half HP, that 7-4A1S becomes all the more scary, and Artist still has to cross window. I mean, this is a really rough spot for them to be in. Yes, it's a 2 versus 2, but there's no comfortability here for Viperio. But Endpoint looking like they might be tempted to double back. I mean, what's the decision we made here? Bomb will go down, planted for single, being held by Artist, and that flank is so worrisome as Gizmy steps up.
Good first frag, Surreal in the clutch. Think back to yesterday, you felt like the clutch master out on Mirage to defeat Into the Breach. This time around, his luck won't continue, it'll run dry, and Artist will find the 3rd for Viperio, so back on the board. And so, well, you know, at least there's light at the end of the tunnel. You know, a 3rd on the board is a 4th in collateral. Well, you'd hope so, considering it's 5-5-7s for the Endpoint side, and it's an eco in the next, so 9-5 is looking pretty likely at this point.
Yeah.
And then maybe number 6, as you said, which is ideal for most teams. You know, it feels like the norm out on Nuke is achieved for Viperio, and considering we were talking 7-1 at the start of this half, that's a right result for the T side.
I mean, it really is. I mean, at one point, right, it just looked like Endpoint could very comfortably even walk away with kind of like a 13-2 half. Didn't even see that kind of outlandish to be making those sort of statements. So for Viperio, they can claw this one back to make it competitive in the sense of the golden number of 6 or even 5 is not too bad. They'll take a lot of positives from it, but it's still not job done. It's still a case in point in where a pistol round's not even a nicety, it's a necessity. They have to get it if they even want to make it competitive down to their CT side. So I'm not comfortable for Viperio just yet, but I'm feeling a little bit better. They're looking a lot stronger. They're looking more comfortable as well. They looked nervous coming in towards their map pick. They looked on edge. And finally, they've calmed down. They're playing their gameplay to their tempo, their decisions, not falling into the trap of Endpoint. And so far it's working. And if they can pass these pistols into round number 13, that'll really cement things here.
I like that Viperio, they're against some lesser weaponry, so playing things slow, trying to draw out an engagement, or, you know, figure out if Endpoint want to go pushing, or, you know, all of these little things that avoid you getting caught out by a pistol. Taking every precaution and every little edge just to win out this round. MHL has got a flank onto the AK. MMS does actually find Thomas just before MHL takes him down, wondering had he have pulled the trigger, you know, half a second quicker. May have just saved his teammate. Instead, now a 4v3. MHL won't exactly be running this AK into the round, and I think a save call is most appropriate. Nert's gonna peek in. There's a second AK for them. Gizmy sitting on the other side of the smoke. It was a risky play, one that doesn't pay off. Endpoint walk away with 2 rifles. That means, you know, in the next rounds, I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be a bit of an eco here, but still, 2 AKs, both with armor, both accompanied with a bit of utility as well. It could get dicey here for Viperio. Got to keep on their toes here.
I gotta say, I mean, well, of course, the round doesn't go in their favor, and it's not really even at all competitive. It was kind of always gonna go the way of Viperio. The fact that they walk away with a couple of kills is actually not too bad. For Endpoint, the investment was minimal. They've picked themselves up a couple of kills. They've saved a couple of AKs as well in towards round number 14, the penultimate of the half. They'll take that. It's actually not too bad now, though. It's all about how do they try and support it. And you can see for Endpoint, they're opting just to continue to keep this low bias. They're playing sort of a double hero rifle, which on paper should support and net Viperio up towards their 5th on the board, which on T side, they'll be more than happy to take. The question is, what can these AKs do?
Well,
no!
Okay! There's your answer, Nao. 2 headshots. Nerds has just served up an Endpoint 10th on a platter. Disgusting with the rifle.
What is that second shot? Genuinely, what is that second shot? One more out towards ENDmhLL. Or Nerds, may I even say. Labor spray does get punished.
MHL takes a bit of damage to the molly as well. So at least some information gathered, and in the meantime, MS has ran down Secret, and he's able to find the other rifle. What was a brilliant start for Nerds might just be put to the wayside as Giraffe finds a double. It was Thomas boosted on ramp that's the last man left now. And in a 1v3, despite Nerds finding 2 opening kills, the fact that this means nothing. I mean, a sigh of relief for Viperio, but maybe Endpoint going to be a bit disappointed in that result, because that certainly could have gone their way. Nice shot from Giraffe to close the show as well. A 4K for him in the round gives a 5th on the board for Viperio. For Endpoint, they've got rifles in the last round. Mighty Max is deducted down to a FAMAS for Thomas. I think he might just have to follow similar suits here. In fact, goes for an MP9 instead. It's not the ideal buy here for Endpoint, but at least it's rifles to work with to try and match the firepower here of Viperio.
I gotta say, for Endpoint, I think they overcomplicated things there for themselves. I mean, you're in a 5 versus 3. Yes, you've only got kind of 2 rifles to work with, but there's an ability to play kind of a collection mission for 1 more if they really want to push towards outside. They just overcomplicate. They've got to take this, though.
Nice shot from Mighty Max to open things up. A flashbang that gives him an assist for Surreal's 2nd in the round. MHL finds it. Ping does trade, but a 2 versus 5. The FAMAS tries to swing from the heavens and take the rifleman down. Ping fortunate to back away at the right time there. Ultimately could have lost his life. Mighty Max. There you go. At least some information gathered. Nade to throw back his way. Doesn't do much, Thomas. There you go. The flank delivers. 10-5 here at the half for Endpoint. They're able to put up a staggering CT side performance, but Viperio with enough bite to show some promise. Can they convert things into a map win on their pick of Nuke? We'll find out after the break.
I could be strong survival on my own, but now I'm running out of hope. I need somebody else to save me from myself. A love too precious to let go. I've been searching should I keep on searching for the one I haven't met? Should I keep on waiting for you, baby? Tell me when. Yeah, baby, tell me when. I've been searching for someone for my
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a pretty one-sided affair here. Endpoint have just been looking, well, dominant. But for Viperio to climb their way up towards 5 rounds really isn't too bad. A pistol around here, though, they need it, I think, in my eyes. If they don't find a 6, then Endpoint go to 11 on T side. This already gets done and dusted.
Gizmy trying to impersonate MHL. Tapping away, there you go, ping, opening kill for Viperio, it's a decent start. MMS tries to improve upon the odds here for Viperio, making it 6 as MMS delivers a double here with the USP. Giraffe will follow up with a nice frag onto the big man of Surreal, and MightyMax in a 1v4, just too many angles, too many different people, not enough opportunity. 6 to 10, so there we go. You know, reintroduce themselves back in the half here, Nao, at least with the bare minimum. Of course, now the follow-up in the next round is what's important. This one's just going to be an eco for the Endpoint side.
That's a great start, it really is. I mean, that's what Viperio needed. They needed just get control of momentum and kickstart things in towards their CT side, of course. The more favourable side, all teams prefer it as just how things are laid out at the moment in terms of the current meta. I mean, changes coming through the M4 as well may make it even worse in some people's eyes. But for now, Endpoint, yeah, as you mentioned, low buy, sticking around that 2k mark. They're going to invest in towards the next and more or less pretty happily give up a 7th over towards Viperio, and a good start for them. Artist for 1.
Decent beginning here. A1S of Gizmy trying to take the range to an advantage. Nice shot from Surreal. Thomas dinking him up. And he will convert the K-Man. Thomas and MHL now left in the 2v4. Have made it down secret. I'm wondering. Okay, that to me, Thomas, I love you, man, but I feel like that was a bit of a misplay. Probably should have attempted the bomb plant rather than to go for the extra frag. Just too many numbers in the vent system. Couldn't quite find the mark. And it's a 7th on the board for Viperio. As you would expect, just less money to put into utility in the next round here for Endpoint. But that's alright because they've got rifles anyway. Now it's a true test for them on here on their T side.
I said, this is where we really get to see what Endpoint can bring out on the T side. As we mentioned, normally we look towards individuals like Heavy God as someone for Endpoint who really kind of pulls them across the line, especially on that T side. Now we're looking to Nerds, and maybe even MightyMax as well as that standard, well, what he can bring in terms of the rifling prowess, as they're looking over towards ramp already early doors. Nicely done, excuse me, from Nerds. Finding the opening kill here for the Endpoint side, so at least putting some power on the board. Of course, the big factor here for Endpoint in general is firepower, right? We always talk about Heavy God as an individual that always shows up on the server. Needs to see something of similar regard here. Make up for it. I mean, MightyMax and Surreal had a pretty quiet one for the most part in the BO3 yesterday. Damn, did Surreal make up for it in the final map where it mattered most, and expecting some of the same here today. What an adjustment from Nerds. MMS should have had him 10 times over, which is not meant to be apparently. MHL finding another 2v4. Artist and Ping left now in a scenario that feels a little bit impossible from the word go. I mean, they'll give it their best efforts because 2 kills go back their way now. The improbable looks the possible. Out from Hut, Ping taken down. Artist switches out from AWP to 8k as he nails a 3rd shot. His 2nd. Needs 3 to win the round here for Viperio. MightyMax will go for the bomb plant. Artist should know. Indeed he will now that it's the A site. Play goes for the spray. And MightyMax tucks back in. Artist, no kit, but wants to play the long game. Bomb continues to tick. No threat to the defuse right now, Artist. Thinking about something else. Thinking about maybe isolating these fights. Does know maybe the timing could have
escaped him. Could be playing from Hut. Taps the bomb. There's a stick hit, but Mighty Max nails the shot anyways. Doesn't matter. Endpoint take the 11th.
IGL versus IGL. Max will come out on top. Endpoint extend the lead to 4 rounds once further and are starting to put up a pretty decent response on towards their T side. The buy around what they've got left to work with will be a little bit on edge in terms of going to have a double Galil coming through, but you look over towards the C side of Viperio and it's not exactly pretty for them either. Yes, they've got a double M4A4 and M4A1S, but the support, Giraffe, only an MP9 and Artist left on just the CZ IKEA builder gun. Not exactly a favourite, especially in these sort of scenarios. You've got to say Endpoint, they've set themselves up for success. A 12 could be looming.
Definitely feels that way, doesn't it? Wondering, is there going to be any bite back from Viperio considering this wonky bite? And the odds aren't impossible. You know, we've said it before. Certainly we'll see it again. Whether it's in this round or not, though, yet to be told. The janky buy is one that sometimes can produce the most humour and the most surprising around. So we'll see. Certainly not going to throw your cards into the muck here if you're Viperio. Definitely do want to see out at least the start of the round. GizMy just trying to tap through the smoke for information. Just spamming everywhere he can. Flashbang doesn't blind the secret player. It's Giraffe and Artist that patiently wait for Nertz's swing. And they'll welcome that AK into their pockets. 5v4 ping playing towards the red box. He's not even facing ramp. He's not even giving Endpoint an edge in. He's going to wait for all this noise. He's going to wait for the players to pass. And he plays a game of discipline. And he has a first in his sight, but does not think MHL's the one. He waits for Thomas, the man that was close. And now they pull the pin. GizMy will find another, but Surreal bites back with 2 on the Galil. Now all up in the air once more. Viperio, they have a man on Hut. It's MMS that bails them out of the initial engagement. MHL does trade, but being 17 points of health and 17 seconds on the clock, numbers certainly do not favour him. And in the final dying embers of the round, he wants to dive towards lower, and that will actually give him availability to go for a bomb plant.
I don't think they heard him. We will get it down pretty comfortably. Now it's all about rotation. The high tailing,
Oh.
yeah. Oh, he just missed it. I thought he would have just got it. I mean, of course, granted, does get a little bit of extra money, but doesn't really make a difference in the grand screen. Viperio play the numbers, 1 versus 2, and MHL under that pressure, under the cost, just couldn't quite make it in time. Down towards the B site. Up to 8, within 3. And it does mean that the buy in towards around the 20 for Endpoint minimal. So around that AK save by MHL, not too much to bring to the table. Viperio have got a really good opportunity to get really within reaching distance. This one, on a bit of a knife's edge, as they've got a pretty conclusive buy.
Can never count, Endpoint out of a bit of damage in this round, but certainly feels like the one Viperio should be taking a 9th in. MHL, there you go, does get his way in with the AK, a second kill as well. Giraffe will trade, doubles up with the A4. Sorrel in the Deagle, 1v3, and there you go. All the formalities go as planned. Onto the rifles in the next tier for Endpoint, where, well, you know, for their safety, they're probably wanting to win it.
Surreal just trying to make it expensive, even if the round doesn't go their way. If he can make it costly, make it problematic, that'd be quite nice. Bit of damage, but that is it. 2 men alive for Viperio for Endpoint. That was always going to be kind of chalked up as a bit of a throwaway round, and it's exactly that. Now Viperio, though, they've kind of found their way into that 2-round buffer where they're really just an arm's reach away from catching up towards Endpoint, and the T side starting to quite significantly struggle over towards Endpoint. Pause coming through, and I don't really blame them. A good opportunity for Agent to kind of have a little conversation and see what's going right, what's going wrong. And so far, it's a similar scenario that we saw Viperio in on their T side, where they can't find the tempo, they can't really play their playstyle because they're falling into the traps continuously of the CT side. And this is exactly what's happening to Endpoint. What looked like it was going to be an absolute blowout in the first half, we're now so evenly matched with Viperio. They have a very good opportunity to take a lead and potentially even see out this first map.
Okay. Timeout expended. Certainly going to be having a chat about, you know, the future here for Endpoint, because money isn't exactly something that pays into their hands. For Viperio, similar story for them. Artist. Yet again, AWP finding entries. Sounds about right for the artist. He's able to pick up some early information and some early damage here. CT side are going to be left a bit dumbfounded in that response. Thomas just wanders out, gets the kill, backs away with his life as well. Not ideal here for the Viperio side. Now the pieces start to move a little bit more. Artist needs to pick up the pace if, you know, he wants to put a hold up on one of these sites. Maybe he comes in through secret. We'll see. Still the best part of a minute to work with as well here for Endpoint. So it's not even like they have to rush into anything just yet.
No. At the moment, for Endpoint, they're not going to be, well, shying away from this situation. The 4 versus 4, and trades favour the T side. They're more than happy to kind of just cut the clock a little bit, try and force errors coming out from Viperio. Potentially, one might arise here as Gizmy, looking on the edge of the smoke, won't be given anything to work with just yet. Now he will. It's a freebie. Nuke walks straight into danger, but a quick trade from Surreal.
Diving down the vent. Oh, did make a bit of noise there. Could cost them. We'll see. Patiently waiting. Move in the final 30 seconds here. Where do Endpoint want to go? 3 versus 3. It's dead silence. Surreal will break it. Makes a single step, and that's going to give Ping every opportunity to win the fight. Artist will find MHL. The wrap towards main. Thomas with the bomb spotted as well. Giraffe just needs to play for his life. Needs to make sure Thomas more integrally doesn't get down the vents. There's 8 seconds. Thomas is going to have to make a dart towards A. Artist thinks he's going lower, but with the bomb dropped, Surreal jumps up the vents. Artist paints the picture for Viperio double digits, and that was certainly not planned, but very well executed amidst the mayhem. Viperio 10. Endpoint 11, and the Kings of UKCS set back down to pistols.
They're struggling. They are really starting to struggle now, and it shows that there is a gap in the armor. There's weakness within what is the Kings of UK Counter-Strike. They are beatable, and Viperio started to show how and why this is coming to fruition. Within reaching distance, and as you put so rightly, only pistols for Endpoint to wield into round number 22. This should be Viperio tying this game up 11-all.
Did you even expect for this game to get so close? A lot of people at home, the pundits would be saying this is an Endpoint 3-0 or maybe even a 3-1 through and through. But for the opening map of our series, our marathon of a BO5, to go Viperio's way certainly does set that aurora about them. Thomas left alone. 1v5. Not happening. Pistols gone. Straight to the rifles once again. But a different outcome needed for Endpoint than the previous. If they want to try and put themselves a map up to none. Because Viperio, aside with momentum, aside with pure passion, you know at this point they're going to be feeling it. And the nerves 100% will be kicking in.
I think Endpoint, they've really got to a point where, you know, we caught our minds back 7-1, 8-1. They were just walking away with that CT side, and now they're going towards the T side, which, of course, notoriously is very difficult to nuke, but you expect a team of this caliber to be able to find some success. And for Endpoint, that one round, the only round they found so far, even that was a struggle. They are really starting to get to an uncomfortable position where you can even start to see nerves kicking in. I think Max and Raging might even need to cut down the tempo a little bit, just stop the clock, pump the brakes, and try and figure out what's their next part of action, because at the moment, they are all over the place.
Great shot from Artist, and he's able to back away with his life, more importantly. So Endpoint have to work with a man down. You think it's going to be a ramp play. Thomas wants to send it out towards the A site, and he craves it all in. 2 kills, Surreal finding Ping as well. What's just happened to the Viperio buy? Just thrown, tossed by the wayside, by the Endpoint CEX side. Thomas, the fact that he's able to walk out hut and find 2, make it 3, is just too criminal. An Artist, 2,400 in his pockets. My guess would be a save call. Very, very much in contention right now.
I think so. All off the back of individual brilliance. And it's the stand-in. The substitute of Thomas. 3 kills to his name. Forces Artist to just tuck himself in towards a corner. Tail between his legs, and he wants nothing to do with this one. Endpoint once again claw back a lead, but just about. It's still on a knife's edge. It's still within 1. So Viperio is not exactly, you know, game over for them. They've still got a wealth of opportunities to get back in towards this one and potentially even take their own map pick. Not going to count them out just yet, but extremely close affair as of just, yeah, for Endpoint. Well, we were saying, you know, on paper, the odds very favourable over towards the Endpoint CEX side, but they are being put through their paces right now, and every round that they're finding, they're seriously having to fight for it. Heading to 24, the seat side of Viperio, an AWP in hand, drops coming over. It's going to be a full buy coming out, but potentially their last one for a little while if they're unable to convert it.
Endpoint just about hold on to their lead. See if Viperio have more in the locker to displace it and bring things back level. It's all shots, all bite right now. Towards the outside play. It's the diagonal smokes. Gizmy is going to be blocked off. No visual on how many Endpoint players want to send it down or work towards main. He'll just be saying for his teammates, guys, watch out.
Our tempo is so slow for Endpoint. Cutting the clock, looking towards lobby, but walking in towards the AWP. That's so easy for Artist to open things up. There's the first, he'll just fall back, and he's supported by Ping now. Double stacking towards ramp. They're begging for the aggression to come through.
Flashes in, gives me a second frag. It's important now that Viperio hold on to numbers. It's the final few moments of the round. Endpoint have to send it in. And with the bomb in no man's land and Thomas in an impossible clutch, you get the feeling that this game is tied back up. Gizmy, as long as he doesn't face and keep his armor and his life, then he'll be rewarded with all of the juice into the next round. Not only that, Viperio 12. It's tie game. It's all on in round 25. Who would have thought map 1 ends this close?
It's stunning stuff. Viperio, they are putting the fight to them. This job isn't done just yet, but there's brilliance coming out from them on their CT side. And I mean, the same can't be said for Endpoint. They are seriously struggling. I mean, while their CT sides are, you know, flashes in the pan, it's not being consistent, it's not being consecutive, it's not being what we've expected of these 7 times reigning champs. Successive, may I say, for Endpoint. 9 overall. They have been the dominant force in UK CS for a long, long time. And, oh, Viperio, they are looking just as competitive right now. If you'd asked me to start the season, who's going to be in that grand final with them, I would have probably gone for the likes of an Into the Breach, potentially even a 1-pin. But Viperio, they're the underdogs, but they've got a serious bite to them.
More fuel to the flame is financially Viperio in a much better spot than Endpoint right now. I mean, neither team is out of the woods, but if you want to just look down the barrel financially speaking, you certainly will not be turning your nose up if you're a Viperio fan right now. See it, Artist on the AWP, 22nd frag. I feel like that's his 3rd, 4th entry with the AWP.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Brilliant stuff. Ultimately now, left with a lot of questions here, Endpoint. Where do we want to end? Well, Molly towards ramp will at least give Viperio some knowledge that control can be given up here. And it certainly will be. Mighty Max makes his way in towards dark. More crucially, Endpoint have the opportunity to wrap towards hell, but Gizmy wants to keep his keen eye on it.
It's a great position for Gizmy as well. I mean, he had a terrible start to the game. He was 0-7 at one point. And already now popping off. We'll find Thomas looking for a double. Can't quite convert it as Max the IGL trade. But still numbers favourable over towards Viperio. And they're more than happy to just sit, wait, and play for the trades.
Well, you've got numbers game. You've got the seconds in your favour as well.
Yeah.
They've only got 40 seconds on the clock to work with here, Endpoint. And the fact there's only 1 smoke and 1 molly to use in an entire execute and post plant. Viperio are in pole position to win a round. MMS wants to go for the throat of Surreal, and while he's not crucified on the spot, he certainly is punished for attempting such bravery. In the final few moments of the round here, Mighty Max opening kill. That's the low HP player gone. Low HP Artist can't convert with a deagle, but Giraffe, he sits in hut, patiently waits. Audio cue, but Mighty Max has got it held. It's all down to Ping in a 1v3. How on earth has this ended up from a 3v5? Endpoint have kept all numbers alive, and Ping now with an impossible task ahead of him. Mighty Max, he spotted the arm. He knew that Surreal was back and over. Just hold the angle. He's coming out hut, and Endpoint have the lead.
how have they won that round? We were saying, you know, 4 versus 3, information gaining towards lobby as well. For Viperio, all they had to do was play the clock, and they just don't. Overextension, rookie errors creeping in, force Endpoint into a very, very easy round in the end of things where it was, you know, looking like it was dead in the water. And that's where you look towards the level-headedness, the experience of Endpoint coming through, where they're able to kind of chalk back rounds in their favor when they look dead in the water. Try to do them up to 13. Slightly gained, potentially could be yet another, but Gizmy'll open things up.
That's a brilliant start for Viperio. The only rifle that they hold in this round. To trust GizmyMML with it as well. He's having a great CT side so far. Unfortunately, he can't put it to a second. Giraffe, though, soars through the sky, saps Thomas. It's the second gun. Not only that, Artist has dropped Mighty Max. 3v2. How has this round turned so pear-shaped for Endpoint? A Zeus of all things that could cost them the round. ENDmhLL, alongside Surreal, checks out below Silo, but doesn't expect the flank from behind. Surreal, 1v3, knows that there's a player from behind, gambles that no one's going to be holding from Heaven or from CT or from Main, and he wants to slip down towards Secret. But does he expect the Artist to be waiting for him? What a reality check this would be for Endpoint to lose against Pistols. It was merely a single M4 in the pockets of GizmyMML, the opening kill of the round, a Zeus followed by a CZ, and all the dominoes just continue to topple in favour of Viperio as the single door is swung open. Artist will welcome a 13th for Viperio. If you thought this game was over, it's only just beginning because we're tied game heading into round 27.
Yeah, I mean, what a capitulation that was. I mean, that looked like, with the buy that was being brought to the table, it was already decided before we even got in towards round number 26. And Endpoint, they'll be kicking themselves. ENDmhLL gets caught blindsided, the AWP falls, and it's such a hefty investment by Endpoint as well that they're now breathing in towards the next, where you look towards Nuke. Only a Tech 9 for them, and arguably their most impactful player. You really do hate to see it. Double Galil as well, it's not exactly a dreamboat. Viperio, they've got a really prime opportunity to go up towards 14. A bit of early damage dealt on towards the Tech 9.
Slams him with a nade, even more damage, not quite the kill. Another one, GizmyMML, is he going to find it? No. No, that's down to 29 points of health. Shot through the smoke. Followed up by a couple of HEs. Not quite a man advantage, but might as well be it. Considering he's on a Tech 9 as well, it's not exactly the most ideal weaponry to be using. Viperio going to see the smoke towards outside. GizmyMML seeing grey. He's going to try and work around it and see if Endpoint want to welcome themselves into this garage control. GizmyMML hoping that exact case. For Artist, he's aggressive. He's down Secret. He's waiting by the blue containers, patiently waiting. How many heads are going to walk into his crosshair? Oh, Artist, the double! Nearly lines up the third as well. ENDmhLL, 32 points of health, and Ping is the second man to the throne here for Viperio to hold down this B site, waiting to see if Endpoint want to make the ultimate move, and if they do, Ping knows he's got enough in him to deny the bomb. Not only that, GizmyMML's on a flank, Giraffe is creating commotion up towards A, ENDmhLL finds himself in the vent, Mighty Max is in control with the bomb, Thomas Shaw does find the first frag, but GizmyMML now locks them into this lower site. You can't get up the vents without a casualty. Make it maybe 2 for GizmyMML, but no, as Thomas goes up, MMS goes down. Ping's the last man left. 7 seconds on the clock. He's made all the noise. Surely not. Surely this is an Endpoint. Of course it is. It's Endpoint that take the lead.
That's another round in which Viperio, it was all in their hands and it just slips through their fingers. Another round where you say for Viperio, rookie errors are becoming so costly on a consistent basis. And that's, once again, we have to lean on towards the experience of Endpoint. They are seeing off tough rounds in tough situations where it requires just a level-headed approach. And you lean on the experience of Mighty Max, the calling style, and it's working wonders right now. On the other side, Artist, the IGL, he's been stepping up 26 and 17, farming on an individual standpoint, but unfortunately the support around him hasn't been as instrumental. 14 to 13, Endpoint take a slight lead and a pause off the back of round number 27 as well. For Viperio, they're in a position where they know the things on a knife's edge, a full investment in towards round number 28, but this could be their last investment in towards their pick of Nuke. If they lose this here, Endpoint go up to 15, and Viperio's money is in the bin.
Then again, Artist on an AWP. He has been stellar with the big green in his hands. Needs to be another masterclass though from the Artist. AWP in one hand, paintbrush in the other. And ideally, wants to paint the scene for Viperio to tie things back up. A flashbang, a great one. So many players blind. A 5-7 from MMS that just whips everything but the last bullet. Surreal, 18 points of health, but gets away with his life, and it feels criminal. Artist looks back in with the AWP, and as he fires off a shot, indicative that there's an M4 as well invested. As Giraffe coughs it up, ping, he falls. Artist 1v4. Sure, he finds the first. Any more would be welcomed, but it's damage, but no round. 15-13. Map points, Endpoint.
The Kings continue to reign, it seems, so far. Viperio, they had so many opportunities, and off the back of this map as well, if it doesn't go in their favor, I think they are going to be kicking themselves, and you really do hope that kind of the likes of the Biscuit at the helm, right, as someone who is a little bit more level-headed over towards this side, is able to just kind of, you know, calm them down, help them sort of mentally reset going in towards the next, because there was plenty of opportunity for Viper to take this map and walk away with Nuke under their belts. And look where we stand now, they're 2 rounds behind, and their buy is abysmal. UMP, not a weapon you see too often, an MP9 and a couple of pistols to try and claw them up to a 14th with the hopes of overtime on the horizon, but it seems unlikely.
Then again, it feels like in the least likely rounds, the Viperio combination has just been working. So we'll see. Another diagonal smoke set up towards outside. A counter smoke thrown in Viperio. Gizmy wants to have a look over the top of it. Doesn't find any information. Nertz has slipped the net completely. He's close towards main. MMS. Oh, he's going to be caught so off guard by this. Gizmy, how have you not spotted that? He'll be asking. Ping. He's going to hear multiple sets of steps towards the ramp position. Flash goes deep. Doesn't blind him up close. And MP9 in this is such a gamble. Going to hear Mighty Max moving away, and that might just force Ping to swing. Gizmy walks into the AK of Surreal, and down to 3, down to the bare bones. To be fair, it's a gamble towards the upper side. Viperio have put their chips on the correct side, but the question is, Endpoint, do they have enough to brute force? It looks likely now. Ping, 1v3, MP9, and Viperio. A valiant attempt here in map 1, but it is just not meant to be. As Ping walks into the jaws of Nerds, it's Endpoint a map up to none, and in a best of 5 series, if map 1 is indicative of anything, it is an absolute slog. Ladies and gents, Viperio can respond. Up next,